Namaste, angels. This is the weekly general reading for the period of Sunday, August 5th through Saturday, August 11th. It is finally 8/11, as in the month of August in the year 2018 equals 8/11. First of all, before I do anything else, I want to congratulate those of you who decided not to sit it out. You decided to dance. Bravo. I had a whole bunch on my page alone. So those of you who are my friend on Facebook likely know that on Wednesday, it's 1:44 a.m. I just looked up. I just made to look up. 1:44 a.m. on 8/2/2018. So today's now Thursday. Yesterday, Wednesday, one of my clients / Facebook friends / YouTube subscribers / just supporters in general from pretty early on, that first year, 2016, that I was doing this. I think probably around July, if I remember correctly, is when we met via email or something. Purchased 9 divine light cleanses almost outright. She paid $90 toward 9 divine light cleanses for 9 strangers, and so she paid $90 each, and all they had to pay was $21, which of course equals 3. And the meaning of the 3 was the co-creation and the collaboration that they would be doing, sort of as a team, by her paying it forward, them taking the initiative and the accountability and responsibility to dance, not to sit it out, and to use their free will toward actually being an active participant in their own lives. You guys know this is stuff I talk about all the time. Like, are you going to be engaged in your life, or are you going to be on the sidelines? They use that free will to get up out the chair and do something for themselves, and paid the $21. The 9, of course, the end of bad energy, the beginning of new, healed and clean energy with the cleanse, and also 9's representative of humanitarianism. And of course, it was a very humanitarian and noble act on behalf of my client to, have done this. But she and her divine masculine have had divine light cleanse themselves on more than one occasion. So she knows the benefits firsthand, and was in a position to be a blessing to another light being so that they can know the benefits firsthand. And so she was. So for all of you in that way and any other way that you took the initiative to engage in your life and to actually follow through with the guidance that we've been receiving, so that you be prepared, right? Rather than be like that, the owner that the thief came in the night because they weren't prepared and they got robbed, that we read about last week in the book of Matthew 24. You're ready. You're ready. If the master shows up, you're ready. All right. So I'm very happy about that. On that note, let's go right into this. Monday, the 6th, is the feast day of the Transfiguration on the Christian calendar. So from franciscanmedia.org, I'm going to read about what exactly is the Transfiguration of our Lord. That's the name of the feast day. I understand that he's not everyone's Lord, so I'm not trying to impose him upon you. That's the name of the feast day, Transfiguration of the Lord. All 3 synoptic gospels tell the story of the Transfiguration. Matthew 17, 1 through 8. Mark 9 through 29. I want you to look at the numbers already. 17 is 8, and then it's, from the first chapter through chapter 8. So Matthew 8, essentially. Mark 9, 2 through 9. That's 11. Luke 9, 28 through 36, 9. With remarkable agreement, all 3 placed the event shortly after Peter's confession of faith that Jesus is the Messiah and Jesus' first prediction of his passion and death. Peter's eagerness to erect tents or booths on the spot suggests that it occurred during the week-long Jewish feast of the booths in fall. According to scripture scholars, in spite of the text's agreement, it is difficult to reconstruct the disciples' experience because the Gospels draw heavily on the Old Testament descriptions of Sinai and the encounter with God and prophetic visions of the Son of Man. Certainly, Peter, James, and John had a glimpse of Jesus' divinity, strong enough to strike fear into their hearts. Such an experience defies description, so they drew on familiar religious language to describe it. And certainly Jesus warned them that his glory and his suffering were to be inextricably connected, a theme John highlights throughout his gospel. Tradition names Mount Tabor as the site of the Revelation. A church first raised there in the 4th century was dedicated on August 6th. A feast in honor of the Transfiguration was celebrated in the Eastern Church from about that time. Western observance began in some localities about the 8th century. On July 26th, in the year 1456, July 22nd, which is 11, in the year 1456, Crusaders defeated the Turks at Belgrade. News of the victory reached Rome on August 6th, and Pope Callistus III placed the feast on the Roman calendar in the following year. One of the Transfiguration accounts is read on the second Sunday of Lent each year, proclaiming Christ's divinity to the elect and baptized alike. The gospel for the first Sunday of Lent, by contrast, is the story of the temptation in the desert, affirmation of Jesus' humanity. The two distinct but inseparable natures of the Lord were a subject of much theological argument at the beginning of the church's history. It remains hard for believers to grasp. So to understand him as a divine being at his vibration, which was far higher than our own, at 10 as I was told, but also as a human being. It's hard to understand how those two can exist simultaneously. And that's what the argument is. But that didn't really tell us, those of us who don't know what the Transfiguration is, that didn't really explain what it is. That just told us where to look it up. So let's go a little further. The recording is exactly at 8:11 now. You guys can check it when when you watch the video. But let's do that a little, going deeper and a little further through Wikipedia. Transfiguration of Jesus. A transfiguration of Christ, or Jesus, is an event reported in the New Testament when Jesus is transfigured and becomes radiant in glory upon a mountain. So he's like surrounded by light. The Synoptic Gospels, again, Matthew 17, 1 through 8, Mark 9, 2 through 8. Well, the other thing said 9. Luke 9, 28 through 36. Describe it. And the second epistle of Peter also refers to it. 2 Peter 1:16 through 18. It has also been hypothesized that the first chapter of the Gospel of John alludes to it. John 1:14. In these accounts, Jesus and 3 of his apostles, Peter, James, and John, go to a mountain, the Mount of Transfiguration, to pray. On the mountain, Jesus begins to shine with bright rays of light. Then the prophets, Moses and Elijah, appear next to him, and he speaks with them. Jesus is then called, quote unquote, Son by a voice in the sky, assumed to be God the Father, as in the baptism of Jesus. Many Christian traditions, including the Eastern Orthodox, Roman Catholic, and Anglican churches, commemorate the event in the Feast of the Transfiguration, and it is a major festival. And of course, Wikipedia goes on to explain the significance, New Testament accounts, the theology, and talks about the presence of prophets, and then gives some images of the various art through the centuries on this, if anybody wants to look further. But I'm going to go on to, well, the Jewish calendar. Again, there is nothing until the 12th, which is the first day of the month of Elul. I am my beloved, and my beloved is me. So that's next week. We'll begin next week's reading with that. The Islamic calendar has nothing until the 21st, 22nd. So we'll go to the celestial calendar. And on there for this week, the big event is the same day as the Transfiguration, August 6th. At 7:27 p.m., Venus enters Libra, which she rules. So she'll be at home there. We'll read about Venus in Libra. Let's do that now. For this, I'm going to, and it's exactly the videos at exactly 11:11 when I started this one. This is hilarious. For this, I'm going to www.tarot.com to their Venus in Libra, cooperative, loving, balanced, written on, it looks like maybe August 6th by the tarot.com staff, it says. Venus and Libra were made for each other. In fact, Venus rules two zodiac signs. Well, yes. One of them is Taurus and the other is, of course, Libra. So I always say that she rules Gemini as well. Venus is the esoteric ruler of Gemini. You want to look it up, you feel free. So this is, you know, right and not right. I'll continue though. But while Taurus brings out the money-oriented side of Venus, Venus in Libra is all about love. The combination of Venus in Libra is naturally harmonious because Libra is the most balanced zodiac sign that there is, and Venus's cooperative energy here puts a premium on fairness, happiness, and serenity. Libra lends an airy vibe to Venus's already sweet and calm nature, encouraging us all to strive for greater peace in our lives alone and with others. When Venus is in Libra, love is absolutely in the air once Venus enters the balanced and beautiful sign of Libra. Venus is the planet that rules love, and Libra is the zodiac sign associated with one-on-one relationships. When Venus enters Libra, we're gifted with a sweet time of peace that highlights our partnerships and social life. While Venus is in Libra, relationships are light and lovely rather than hot and heavy. Libra is a peacemaker, and we'd rather not rock the boat now in order to maintain the harmony in our relationships. In fact, we're especially polite and charming while Venus is in Libra, and more likely to sweep issues under the rug. Those who typically find themselves in argumentative relationships can benefit from a break in the drama during Venus's transit through Libra. After all, brash or rude behavior is a big turnoff now. Love is, above all else, a two-way street, right? I always say love has to be able to pass both ways. And during Venus in Libra, it is certainly this, a two-way street. It's a time when we're reminded that the best relationships aren't 50-50, they're 100-100. Because Libra is so concerned with fairness and equality, imbalanced relationships will stick out like a sore thumb during this transit. Does one of you have stronger feelings than the other? Is one of you putting more work into the partnership than the other? If so, it'll become very noticeable while Venus is in Libra. Thankfully, this transit also blesses us with the cooperation and grace to work together to make positive changes and start anew. So if you do find those situations in your relationships, it's not a time to, get mad at each other and stomp off, angry. It's the time when you'll be more apt to figuring out how can we fix this together. Though both Venus and Libra are strongly connected to our love lives, this planet and sign are also very interested in beauty and style. While Venus is in Libra, we want to surround ourselves with things that make us feel breezy, beautiful, and at ease. Spending a little on an updated look or fresh decor for the home can bring us a renewed sense of pleasure and confidence now. Venus in Libra is a time to love with your whole heart. Cooperate with others, strive for peace, and live lightly, and you can make the most of this beautiful transit. And if you want to read up more on what it means if your Venus is in Libra, again, I got this from www.tarot.com, and they have that as well. What else is going on this week from the celestial calendar? The next day, August 7th at 12:50 p.m., Uranus retrograde. So what's up with that? For that, I'm going to www.bustle.com. What is Uranus retrograde? It's going to shake up your social life in a big way. If you start feeling a little more anxious than normal come August, it could be because of Uranus retrograde. I know what you're thinking, not another retrograde. So just what is Uranus retrograde? The 7th planet from the sun goes retrograde on August 7th, 2018, and it stays there until January 7th, 2019. Like Jupiter and Saturn, this retrograde is a long one, and here's what you can expect. You'll already be really affected if Uranus is in your natal chart, which sounds like good news until you consider that you probably do have it in your natal chart, because most people have all planets somewhere in that chart. Like Saturn retrograde, this cosmic reverse involves working through past life issues, but in an entirely different way. While Saturn retrograde is all about righting your karmic ship, Uranus retrograde can cause stress from unresolved or underdeveloped former life issues to manifest as anxiety, neurosis, and sudden personality changes. This sounds like another reason why the universe has been pushing us to heal these things, and why we shouldn't have waited if we did. Uranus retrograde in your chart could show up as abruptness or egotism. Who wants to go back to that foolishness if you've already moved beyond? So those of you, let's see, this video will be up in time for the 5th. It's probably be up by the 4th. You'll have 3 days before Uranus retrograde if there's something you want to cleanse away before it starts. Anyway, erratic behavior or unreliability that holds you back. Astrology King noted such traits could well have been ongoing problems hindering success over many incarnations. Events or relationships will keep reinforcing the problem areas in this life, especially during Uranus retrograde phases, until you make the necessary internal changes. Okay, that's not from me or the scripture. That's somebody else saying it. And I was made to look up in that moment while I was reading that. The video was at 1818, exactly there. I know this sounds like a lot to digest, but opportunities will present themselves that can make a clear path more apparent. Changes turn and face the strange. Ooh. Uranus retrograde will be an opportunity to make big changes. When Uranus transits retrograde, it will reawaken freedom urges. Well, Uranus and Aquarius, which it rules, are all about freedom. So that makes sense. And that's going to cause the individual to suddenly rebel against any ruts or confinement in their life. So anywhere where you're not free, where you're feeling trapped, you're going to want to break out all of a sudden. Astrologer Lynn Coiner noted this on her website, quote, "I feel that it's better to process what needs to change while Uranus is in retrograde and to actualize the change when it turns direct." So if there is something that you discover you need to change during Uranus retrograde, what she's saying is you should plan it, figure out how to get out of it, and then when it goes direct, act on it. Get up and dance again. The retrograde simply makes you aware, but it's generally not wise to impulsively act upon it, and that at that point as an awareness. Translation: Uranus retrograde, if you have Uranus in your natal chart, might make you feel all dark and twisty, which can be uncomfortable, of course. Quote, when Uranus is retrograde natally, the rebellious urges tend to bottle up, and then burst forth, seemingly out of nowhere, Coiner wrote. Quote, this stems from the fact that these people need to make changes internally before they can manifest them in the external world. End quote. So it sounds like, you know, like it's like something we're not going to get away with if we're trying to not use our free will and get up and dance and engage in our own lives and be a participant in our own lives. Like, it sounds like we're not going to be allowed to get away with it forever. But we'll see. Additionally, this means that you should stay away from friends who can easily influence you to less than great behavior, because not only will you be easily swayed, but you'll also be more prone to outbursts of not so great varieties. This could shake up your social life in some ways, but it's for the best. It's important that you see what needs to change, understand why, and then move forward to actually making that change in 2019. Because remember, that's when Uranus goes direct. It's a long one. That could be understanding who your healthiest friendships are, who they're with, in the case of a Uranus retrograde. That can be what it means for you as it relates to your friends. If you're not sure if Uranus is in your natal chart, you can get a free chart to find out for sure. Uranus retrograde can cause a conscious societal shift. That's what I was feeling and thinking, because again, it is like the planet that rules the sign of freedom and humanitarianism, and people are going to want to be more of that, I think. Let's see what they say. There's a usually, I guess they mean there's usually, they didn't need a there. There's usually a lot of focus about how a planetary retrograde affects you individually, but some retrogrades can have a significant impact on society as a whole. Quote, at the mundane level, I expect Uranus retrograde trine North Node to result in a shift of the mass consciousness towards socialism and away from the extreme right. Now, I talked at length about the North Node last week. I knew something was coming with that. So it says straying away from the extreme right, ... And then I guess they're explaining what that means. Religious mania or extremism are possible outcomes if you remain single-minded and self-righteous, end quote, Astrology King noted. Quote, instead of narrowing your field of view, it's better to gain a wider and more comprehensive knowledge. Travel and mixing with people from different backgrounds will help you to avoid any chance of bigotry, xenophobia, or other forms of intolerance or ignorance, end quote. And that's the end of the Uranus retrograde article. So the next event that affects us this week is again on August 11th at 5:58 a.m. the new moon and partial solar eclipse. This says partial. I was shown full and read full in 10,000 places. Okay, I'm going to go with partial for now. New moon, partial solar eclipse in Leo, 18 degrees Leo 42. And this is at 5:58 a.m. this happens. So early in the morning. From www.tarot.com. The moon in Leo, big-hearted, loyal, natural-born leader. Of course, we'll talk more about this moon in Leo and the eclipse, whatever size it is, when I do the moon and eclipse reading. This was written on July 3rd about the moon in Leo. Before we get into details about the moon in Leo, let's first learn more about the moon itself. In astrology, the moon is considered a planet, the fastest moving one at that. Because it moves so quickly, it passes through each of the zodiac signs every month. If you don't know what your moon sign, which is also called a lunar sign, is, you can find out now by filling out a free cosmic profile. You might be a Leo moon sign. There's also, of course, as the other article mentioned, free natal charts and things all over the internet. I tend to like the one for like beginners and like novice people, cafe astrology, because I think you don't have to actually be able to read the chart. It's all typed out and summarized for you, like all the aspects. Anyway, when the moon is in Leo, regardless of what your moon sign is, a couple days each month, we all feel the influence of the Leo moon. When the moon is moving through Leo, regardless of how you normally feel, you'll have a stronger desire to let others know how you feel. You'll be more apt to tell people that you love them or express your appreciation of them. This might also be a time when there's a strong urge to turn the romance and passion in your life up a notch. Because Leo craves attention and adoration, a Leo moon could leave you feeling more insecure than usual, which could lead to a dramatic flare-up if your needs aren't met. Oh boy, Leos can be super dramatic. Super dramatic. My dad's a Leo, as is his twin sister, of course. Oh man, you don't even want to know. If you're a bit more sensitive and vulnerable during this transit, ask those around you for the reassurance that you crave. Leo is a sign of ideas and a sign of expressing yourself. You'll be inclined to pursue an artistic outlet such as dance or theater. And I would like to again think of that metaphorically too, that you'll be encouraged to get up and dance and not sit it out. It says you can also be moved to take on a new business endeavor of some kind. It could also be a time of getting out and socializing so that you can perform for others. And they have perform in quotes. After all the world's a stage during the moon in Leo. Yes, Leos like to be the center of attention. They crave attention like crazy. That said, I'm a Leo rising. But I have a lot of air, so I don't know. Every now and then I say, oh, that my inner segment is coming out, but it's not that often. Anyway, new moon in Leo. During the midsummer, when the sun is in the sign of Leo, we have what is called a Leo new moon. This is a very special time because new moons are all about new growth and the beginning of new cycles. The Leo new moon is concerned with self-expression and showing what's in your heart. So this is when you're beginning a relationship with a person, an idea, or a goal. You want your heart to be open and to make your deepest desires become everything in your life. This is a great time to ask yourself if you've truly been doing the things that make you feel the most fulfilled. So couple that with what we read about Venus in Libra and the fact that the next day, the month of Elul, or I am my beloved and my beloved is me begins. And it sounds like next week could get pretty steamy, or the rest of the month of August even could be pretty steamy. And maybe that's what the big 8/11 representing the entire month is all about. We shall find out soon, I think. That's the last thing on the calendar for this week. Again, the rest is begins right away on the 12th. So for next Sunday's reading, with Mars retrograde moving out of Aquarius temporarily and going into Capricorn, I guess joining Pluto and Saturn, which are both also retrograde in Capricorn. So that should be interesting. On that note, let's go to our dice. I'm beginning with 29, which is spiritual partnership. It's 50-50, but remember this week we're going to want it to be 100-100. I really like that. Keep it 100. And also get a massage. Spirit says forget it. Still 29. And a weekend away. Nice. Going to the cards, I'm beginning with the Lovers. I think this fits in perfectly with, again, with what we just heard about Leo and the Venus in Libra. The Lovers, which represents Gemini, but can be, you know, the other air signs too. So maybe Leo, but again, Gemini, which Venus also rules. Intimate relationships. Carefully weigh your decisions. Good health. And speaking of Gemini and Libra and Aquarius, it's the Queen of Air. Independent, experienced, realistic and witty, objective decision making, clearing away all that no longer serves you, and seeing the humor in a situation. The Lovers and the Chariot. Major Arcana card, the Chariot, with Archangel Metatron. An important achievement, self-discipline and willpower. Public recognition. Speaking about the moon being, you know, being thought of as a planet, it is the planet that rules the sign of Cancer, which the Chariot represents. The Chariot, all about movement. Could be movement in the area of love, or movement where we have to make a decision and we hadn't been making one before. Maybe we had been sitting it out, we hadn't been getting up to dance, and now we're getting moving. We're taking life by the reins, or we're getting in the driver's seat of our own lives. This is victory too. This is transportation. Maybe it has to do with weekend away, going away, a couple going away. 29, you could be connected to 29, spiritual partnership. And forget it can also be part of this, like forget the other stuff. Maybe the Queen of Swords just cut out the stuff that we needed to forget, that wasn't, you know, it wasn't serving a purpose for us as an individual or, you know, a couple, a union. So that's been cut away. You just forget it now. Let's move on to 29 and to weekend away and to victory and to, you know, getting in the driver's seat. Also, there could be something going on between an air sign and a water sign, and maybe more specifically, a Cancer and a Gemini. The Lovers and the Ten of Air. It's the end of a difficult situation. Embrace the change and expect things to get better now. So like I said, we could have been stagnant. Things could have been not moving, and maybe a difficult time because they weren't moving in whatever area, love or any other area. This is the general reading. But that time coming to an end with this. There also may have been some sort of betrayal, and maybe somebody had to cut a person off, a friend off, all that we just read about as well. This could be a Gemini doing the cutting off, or a Gemini that got cut off, or somebody else who's not a Gemini or an air sign at all, taking on the traits of an air sign, of a Queen of Air, Queen of Swords, you know, just to do just that. The Lovers, and lastly, Major Arcana card, the Hermit, with Archangel Raziel. Spend time in quiet meditation, spiritual teaching, self-discovery. This is where Venus is currently, the sign of Virgo. So she's leaving Virgo, entering Libra. It's Major Arcana card number 9. Again, 9's all about humanitarianism, beginnings and endings. Also enlightenment. So enlightenment as it relates to a decision that one has to make, or as it relates to a relationship, a love relationship, or an intimate relationship of some kind between two people. Besties, familial, romantic, whatever the relationships. The Hermit again. I'm going to cut. Also, it could be about an actual decision, maybe a legal decision. The Hermit can represent a lawyer. Can often be a lawyer. And again, the Lovers, not always just about love. It can be about decisions. There could be, somebody could be awaiting a decision in a, you know, love matter, or a matter, you know, an intimate matter, a family court matter or something. Also, coming now to the King of Water, who's trustworthy, compassionate, respected, and cultured. Open your heart and mind to those around you. Trustworthy and heartfelt advice and charity work. Now, as far as I'm concerned, charity work is love. Charity work is that love passing both ways that I was talking about before. It's the ability to both give and receive without agenda. I'm accepting something from you. I've come to a place in my life where I'm able to accept things without questioning them. Why is this person doing this for me? And I can trust that it's out of love, and I'm accepting it out of love. And the same, the same token, when I give, it's with love and for no other reason. I'm doing this for you or giving this to you because love. Like what my client did, again, with the 9, having just been on the Hermit, on the heels of the Hermit, the 9 fellow clients of mine that, were blessed with divine light cleanses as a result of her donation. She gave, they accepted. It's unconditional love on both sides. King of Water could absolutely be representative of the King of Water, like the true one, the mate of the Queen of Air, since we've now seen them both. It's like the couples at the table. And again, this could be representative of a Cancer, maybe specifically, with the Queen of Air, maybe most specifically being representative of a Gemini. But any of the air signs, Libra, Aquarius, and any of the water signs, Pisces, Scorpio as well, and any sign in general who's taking on these traits or attributes. The overall energy is the 7 of water, which tends for me to represent the planet Neptune, even though it's not a court card or a person. The planet Neptune in the sign of Pisces, which it rules, because I just, I feel the dreamy or like fantasy sort of energy, and sometimes foggy. Like I can't, we just can't get a clear thought and we need to, because we got to make a decision. We got a decision to make, a complex decision at that. The need to do research. Stop procrastinating. Crowning the masculine. Speaking of the sign of Pisces, it is Major Arcana card number 12, equals 3, in cooperation and co-creation and collaboration. The awakening card in this deck is the Hangman in the traditional tarot, which also represents the planet Neptune in sign of Pisces for me, because of that same dreamy energy. Look at things from a different perspective. You're at a temporary standstill, and it's important to be yourself. So it's important to look at all sides of a situation and to be honest and true with you, about you, and what you want. So that when the clock does, speed up again, you're ready to make that decision or to walk down the path that you had envisioned yourself walking. So masculine is surrounded by the energy of the King of Air, who's brilliant, impartial, professional, and diplomatic. Speak your mind with confidence. Seek out professional advice and balance mental and emotional considerations. The King of Air can be a judge. We just saw a lawyer and the need for a decision, or awaiting a decision, or having to make a decision. This could be the masculine's energy. He could be the judge, or somebody who's having to make a fair decision, right? The King of Air is brilliant, impartial, professional, and diplomatic. So he's very Libra-like. Maybe he is a Libra. He's somebody who's speaking up for himself. That could be what he's deciding here. What he wants to say and what he will say. He's looking at all the different perspectives like an air sign would do. So he can be the most fair, or give the most fair summation, or make the most fair decision that he's able to make. In the masculine subconscious, the 10 of Earth, very nice. A very happy family life. Financial security and finding magic in the little things in life. This can often represent some sort of lump sum of money, or lump sum of abundance, like a lot of love, and just, feeling good, feeling secure. Not, hashtag no worries, at least in this moment. And it may have something to do, again, with some sort of legal settlement. This is the general reading, so it doesn't have to be connected to love, but it can be that too. It can be that too. Again, some sort of family court situation or something, and a decision that comes through. Or this can be, you know, again, the masculine taking action in sort of like a very determined and no nonsense way, but, you know, fair way that leads to the inflow of abundance. This could be Venus, even though it's the king of air. This could be Mercury. Or a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or somebody likened to those traits or attributes. Crowning the feminine. The Three of Fire. Abundance. Things look very good. Have patience at this time and make long-term plans. The Three of Fire, like threes, again, are about creativity. The creator, creation, coming up with creative ways to pursue our passions. Threes also about abundance, and the three of whatever in a tarot does tend to have to do with the need to be patient, and maybe most specifically in the Three of Fire, because we picture the wands or stakes as, you know, the build up to the solid foundation beneath us. And with the wands, that's where we start out with our manifestation. That's the idea. Okay, I got an idea, or I'm going to speak this over my life, or I'm thinking this thing over my life, thinking positive thoughts. Here goes the thing. Now, 2, okay, I got faith that that's going to actually come into fruition. It's going to begin to manifest. Now, 3, okay, now I can see it taking form, but it's not quite done yet. And then we may have to be patient for that last stake to hit the ground. So that can be also what this is about. Also, of course, there may be something involving some sort of party of 3, not necessarily romantic or a love triangle, but that's a possibility too. And it mirrors the masculine's 3 here with the Hanged Man. Surrounding the feminine, the 7 of Earth. So another card that indicates the need to be patient and to just be understanding that once we begin to manifest these things, it's sort of elementary in the natural order of stuff, that it's going to come to fruition, and we just wait now. Seeds well planted. A temporary pause in action. Unnecessary worry. Like any paranoia we shouldn't have, because you put seeds in the ground, you water them, they grow. That's how that works. We don't have to like be nervous about, I wonder if they're going to grow. No, that's what they do. That's what seeds do. When you put them in the ground, they grow. Feminine subconscious. It's another 3. The Empress. This represents the planet Venus, and the signs of Libra, Taurus, and Gemini, which she rules. Lavish abundance. Give birth to your dreams. Nurture yourself and others. This could be the feminine. For some of us, it is connected to, I feel, pregnancy. That's the creation. That's the seed. That's the seed. She might be in the 7th month or approaching the 7th month and have 3 to go. She may have just discovered that she was pregnant last week, in July. And need to be patient now going forward while she creates this being, nurtures it from within, and herself as well. For others, if you've been wanting to become pregnant and to try, or you've been trying and you've been unsuccessful thus far, now's a good time to attempt to plant that seed again. This can also just be us thinking from a perspective of wanting to nurture actual people or, ideas and things too. Again, creating something. Helping to bring an idea to fruition. Something that we came up with, we started at 1, and now we want to continue to nurture it so that it continues to build, and that one day it does have that 4th staff in the ground. This can also have something to do with one's mother. Be connected to one's mother too, or yourself as a mother. Crowning. The Knight of Air, intelligent, decisive, idealistic, and tireless. So this is like the 3rd or 4th indication of a decision that has to be made. We started out with the Lovers, then the 7 of Water, Then, I don't remember. Well, the Seven of Water is also our overall energy. Though I feel like we saw like 2 or 3 already. And now the Knight of Air is showing up. And this is also, it tends to be about the need to make a decision, or the fact that you're awaiting a decision. Intelligent, decisive, idealistic, and tireless is the Knight of Air. Events that occur with great speed. Take time to carefully review your options. You can come up with creative solutions. And sitting here next to the Three of Fire, okay, this is us being creative or wanting to create something, the energy of creation and pursuing passions, but you may have to decide what you're doing. This could be that question of, am I going to engage? Because the Knight of Air likes to engage. He's sort of just like takes off once he's on to something. At the root, and similar to the king, or like the king, of course, he is a Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini, someone likened to those traits or attributes, or can be representative of the energy of Venus, or Mercury, rather. Or Mars, I guess. That came out of my mouth. Mars currently located and retrograde in, so Mars, the red planet, Mercury in retrograde in Aquarius. At the root, speaking of that air energy, is Major Arcana card, the Dreamer, which is the Fool in the traditional tarot. But in this deck in particular, this card, because it gives me a feel of Mercury, and don't ask why, but it makes sense, especially here. It's crossing the King of Air, which I was just saying might be Mercury. It just always has felt like Mercury to me. I can't explain it. Mercury, which rules both Gemini and Virgo. A leap of faith. Follow your dreams. That leads to unexpected opportunities. So Mercury could be delivering us this week some sort of opportunity to walk a new path, or to nurture a new project, a new idea to which we've given birth. And we're going to want to do that. At the heart of the matter, the Queen of Earth, insensible, and more Venus, right, as ruler of Taurus and the planet of money and abundance, period. Make time for those around you. Take a sensible approach and deal with challenges in a kind and understanding manner. The Queen of Earth, again, could be representative of somebody's mother, or the need to nurture yourself or other people. The Queen of Earth is very compassionate, right, and warm, and she wants to, sort of bake you some cookies or something. She also is a facilitator of abundance, and often the financial persuasion or material coming through. But it may involve some sort of decision, maybe a decision with regard to credit that somebody is waiting for or making. Should I apply for credit? Do I even want credit? Do I even want to take on a loan? But if you do, it looks like it would be lucrative or advantageous for you, particularly for the masculine here. And he's like going through somebody professional. Again, maybe a lawyer, a judge is involved, a realtor, a financial advisor, helping him to decide how to do certain things, maybe connected to this new path that he wants to walk. Let's further clarify with another tarot deck. And again, I'm going to begin with the energy of Pisces and Neptune. So that's interesting too. The Princess of Summer, or the Page of Summer, who's sensitive, kind, open-hearted, and inexperienced, represents the sign of Pisces for me. That's the more youthful of the water element. But of course, it can be a Scorpio or Cancer as well, or any zodiac sign, and may involve a child also. The Page of Cups, often representative of a child. You can expect to kindle a new romantic relationship or a close platonic friendship. You may suddenly receive an emotional message from someone or be invited to a social event. Well, yes, pages or princesses bring news, or bring deliveries. This one delivers some sort of offering or message of love or emotion, or something that's going to bring emotional happiness or joy. And opening to the Queen of Spring, who's talented, brilliant, independent, and charming. Don't underestimate your ability to manifest your dreams. You may have several priorities vying for your attention at once, but you can do it. That could also be what this 7 of water represents, right? This could be all the things that are vying for our attention. This could be all the options, right? Maybe it's several people that are interested in us, or in whom we're interested, or we got to decide if we want one or none or all, of a person, place, or thing. Well, these are options. These are choices. Underneath it, facing the same direction, is the Queen of Water, who's tenderhearted, empathetic, patient, and loving. So this choice again may have something to do with if it's not love and romance, something that's going to bring you some sort of emotional happiness or joy. The Queen of Water is tenderhearted, empathetic, patient, and loving. Relationships develop to a new level. Trust your intuition. Care for yourself and others. Again, that's what the Queen of Earth also wants to do. So definitely about nurturing and taking care. And the Queen of Fire, which just showed up here, says that you can get through this thing with all these options. You can either juggle them all, right? You can handle them all, hoes in different area codes, or you can chop them down. Whatever you decide, you're going to be able to handle it because you have that energy of the Queen of Fire, who's a Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries, by the way. Speaking of fire signs, it's the Sun, and the Sun, the ruler of Leo. The Sun considered a planet too, right? Not unlike the Moon. Your plans will work out well, bringing you happiness, prosperity, and success. You'll garner the recognition for your accomplishments that you so richly deserve. The Sun in the tarot represents the sign of Sagittarius, but the Sun, Earth's star, the Sun in the sky, again considered a planet, rules the sign of Leo, which we are currently in. Princess of Summer and the 8 of Summer. You feel like there's more to life than what you're living, so it's time to move on. You may be moving from a situation that isn't good for you, or perhaps you're being drawn to what would make you happy. Either way, you're in control. This could be connected to the Chariot, right? The Chariot, about movement or moving physically sometimes. You're going towards something or away from something. Or you want to. Opposite the Princess of Summer. For some, this is like, again, physically moving, a parent and child. A parent and child alone, moving or wanting to. And you might get news of an opportunity to move. And that's what's going to bring you the emotional joy this week. Or at least to begin like the process or something. To give birth to the process. And then we got to be patient. So maybe we get to fill out an application, a credit application. We're seeking pre-approval before we make an offer, right? And this is the realtor. We want to be able to go into contract. So they're going to check our credit in advance, or we're awaiting a decision on a loan. We're deciding whether or not to apply for a loan, so we can, give birth to this new thing together. The outcome will be an actual home, a 4 of Wands, which can represent a home. Right, so we're at this stage now. So not only might it be a parent and child wanting to move, but maybe specifically a female or the divine feminine and a child. Maybe a son specifically. I was just on the heels of the Sun. Major Arcana card, the Sun. Could be definitely a mother and son wanting to move or something this week, or getting an opportunity to move this week. Princess of Summer and the World. It's another 3. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 3s. The World represents fire energy for me too. So it's like another 3 of fire, only Major Arcana, so it's stronger. Congratulations on successfully accomplishing what you set out to do. You've made it through the challenges and incorporated the lessons that life has offered you with grace and courage. Like you continue to face adversity. You know, even though you kept charging on, very Nine of Wands, right? Very Nine of Fire, that warrior spirit. You kept getting knocked down, you kept getting back up and facing it again. And so now that phase where you were going through that is over. So this is where that Ten of Swords comes back in too. It's the end of that difficult phase or situation. The universe easing you out of it. That may also require some patience, like Seven of Earth. But it's good news. It makes you emotionally happy that this thing is coming to an end. Princess of Summer. And boom. What'd I say? We're waiting on the Four of Spring. Waiting on the Four of Wands. Here it is. It's time to kick back, relax, and celebrate what you have. Joy arises from success in your career, the completion of a project, or a very happy family life. Here's the joy. Here's the completion of a project. Here's us waiting. Here's the project waiting to be completed. We need one more stake, right? Here's where we gave birth to it. Here's where we wait. Now we're there. That's the end of it. Four of Wands can also be representative. It's anything that's going to bring us that kind of joy, contentment, and peace. It absolutely represents homes, but it can be a commitment of some sort, maybe actual marriage, you know, wedding. Can be about cohabitation, where I was feeling about moving and wanting to live in a home. Again, yeah, anything that's going to give you that peace and contentment and make you feel at home, even if it's not about a physical home. On that note, you know what? I'll cut. Womp womp. Here's this feeling of lack and fear and worry. Focusing upon the negative or worrying about money or your career can block your progress. Basically what they're saying is you will block your own blessings if you don't, keep that sort of attitude of gratitude and positive thoughts. That's what manifestation is all about. That's how it works. Speaking positive things over your life, thinking positive things over your life. Because your trust and faith are at a low point right now, it's probably not the best time to start your own business or to become self-employed or to enter a commitment or relationship or something. Because as it relates to relationships and love, the Five of Autumn for me is still about fear. It's like fear of commitment, fear of abandonment, fear of repeating past experiences, past relationships, like patterns that you haven't completed them. That it's about all of that stuff. As it relates to money and career and finances and the material, it's about fear of not having enough, fear of lack. Check out our overall energy. Major Arcana card number 7, the Chariot, which again, it represents the sign of Cancer. So on both tarot decks, we have a 7 of water that is the overall energy. On the first deck, through which the Chariot did come out, but that wasn't our overall energy. Our overall energy is the actual 7 of water. And this one, it is Major Arcana card 7, which is also a 7 of water, just stronger. You can successfully balance various or opposing energies all at once through determination and focus. That's what I was just talking about here, like the warrior spirit, keep pushing. You've earned the rewards and recognition that you're receiving. So you did the work, you planted the seeds, now you wait for them to grow. The Chariot can be about victory and accolades. Yes, you've earned, the praise you're receiving, the recognition. But it's again also about moving, whether metaphorical or literal. And it's always forward moving. It's not going backward. It's progressing. It can be about transportation too, planes, trains, automobiles. So maybe somebody's deciding about financing or for a car, right? Am I going to buy it outright or I'm going to lease it? All that kind of stuff. Weekend away can be coming in. This could be trying to get money to plan for a vacation. For some of us, the Chariot connected to travel and vacation. Maybe it has been Mercury who has been putting a thorn, in your side as it relates to that travel, because Mercury, ruler of that, of travel and communication and all that stuff, currently retrograde. All of these are possibilities. Crowning the masculine, the top awakening, or the hangman, it is another Queen of Autumn. We got one right here crossing this one. So what he's looking at different perspectives. It's with relation to a Queen of Autumn or some sort of financial or material issue. The Queen of Autumn is thoughtful, caring, creative, and ingenious, and according to this deck. Again, she's also a Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo. You will be given advice that's both practical and creative. It should be followed precisely. So this is again about becoming engaged and participant in your own life, not sitting it out, actually dancing, using your free will to take action, not just watching a reading or, taking advice from somebody else, a Queen of Autumn. I'm just giving an example, like watching a reading and then saying, oh, okay, that was nice. I enjoyed that one. And then not doing any of the stuff or not applying it in your life and, knowing what you want to avoid and what you want to engage in and what you want to just do nothing and be neutral. You want to follow this guidance precisely, it says, that you receive. Focus only upon the positive in every situation or person. So when you're looking things from a different perspective, maybe you had been looking from a negative perspective. And you're going to want to turn that around and look at it from a positive perspective. And that is going to, when you have that positive flow of energy and those positive thoughts and positive words that you are speaking, again, that will help you to manifest not only positivity, but abundance into your own life as well. And again, this Queen of Autumn could be somebody who, in a very literal and physical sense, is some sort of facilitator of abundance coming your way, especially with two Queens of Autumn crossing one another here. Atop the King of Air, the Two of Summer. You're falling in love or experiencing a deepening of emotion in your current relationship. Marriages or romantic partnerships in distress can still be saved. In that case, you're going to want to speak up. Right, that's what the King of Air is also good at. You're going to want to communicate, and maybe using that energy of Venus in Libra this week that was all about love to do that. Or that energy that we read about, the new moon in Leo. It says that's when you want to speak up and express and be honest about how you feel about other people. Atop the Ten of Earth, which is about financial security or happy family life and just being surrounded by love and feeling good and not like really feeling like you need anything. You're happy in the present moment. The Nine of Summer. So it's some sort of wish comes true, whether it's a lump sum of money or material abundance that comes your way, or it is that the fact that you get to be surrounded by people who love you or just good feelings. It's something that for which you wished and prayed, and it's happening. Now's the time when your dreams come true. Don't worry about how this will happen, how you'll get this abundance. Just know that you're going to, right? Because that kind of positive thought is what's going to help you to manifest it. Right? Just know It doesn't matter how this will happen. Just give gratitude to God for all that you have now. I just talked about the present moment. So be in that present moment and be happy for what's surrounding you now, and then what's yet to come. And just know that goodness and mercy follows me all the days of my life. So what's to come is also going to be good. Atop the 3 of fire for the feminine, crowning the feminine, it's another 4 of fire. Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. This is essentially like another 4 of wands. Again, only stronger because it's major arcana. And major arcana card number 4, the Emperor, represents the planet Mars for me, the red planet. That's why it's another 4 of wands. And it is about leadership. It does tend to represent the sign of Aries, or perhaps Scorpio, which is also co-ruled by Mars, similar to the whole Venus and Gemini thing. Yeah, it's about taking charge. Taking charge, stepping up, getting organized, sort of you being in control, like how we talked about the driver's seat. Like this is like you not handing over control of your situation or life to somebody else. You're running it. You're running it. And speaking of retrogrades, Chiron currently retrograde in Aries. And that can be this, what this is connected to too, the energy of healing for some of us. Chiron, the wounded healer, who when Aries just gets up and brushes himself off when he gets hurt, currently retrograde there. So that can be what you're doing, right? You maybe hit some stumbles, right? Some bumps in the road along the way, but you're just continuing again to forge ahead, sort of like that 9 of fire and that warrior spirit. But in this case again, like like Chiron, the wounded healer in Aries, and brushing off your knees when you fall down and getting up and continuing to move ahead, knowing that you're going to be victorious, that you're going to be successful. And that's what the Chariot says too. This is victory that's ahead, right? Victories within the mile, as they say. Also, this can have something to do with somebody's father. So here we had the energy of a mother. Down here we had the Empress. Now we have the Emperor. We also have a couple at the table. Here's the 2 of summer. All right, we have a couple represented not only by the 2 of cups, but by the Empress and the Emperor sitting here together. One crowning, one rooting the feminine. So in a romantic sense, for some of us, this is definitely like a love spread, even though it's the general reading. Atop that Empress, by the way, the Ace of Winter. So this is Venus in her air element, in her Libra. Okay? Implementation of your brilliant new idea may get off to a rocky start, but keep going. The challenges will help you to refine your plan and to reshape your goals into something even better. So I talked about this energy too. I didn't mention the Ace of Winter, Ace of Swords specifically, but I talked about bumps in the road and a difficult start and the fact that we keep going anyway. And that's what the Ace of Winter or Ace of Swords, Ace of Air is all about. We hit some bumps in the road. We're off to a difficult start. We're getting a new beginning anyway. And that new beginning in itself may be a little bit rocky at first too. But it's still a new beginning nonetheless, and we forge ahead. And it's sitting here next to, again, this the Fool or the Dreamer in this deck, which represents the sign of Gemini for me, and Virgo. Again, Gemini, which Venus rules. So that's sitting here too. And it's that I'm just gonna keep pushing on ahead. And go on this new path. I'm going to brush off my knees like Chiron and Aries would and keep forging ahead. I'm going to cut off what's the dead weight that's holding me back like an Ace of Swords, a Queen of Swords, a King of Swords, and keep forging ahead. Ace of Winter, also similar to the Chariot, about victory. So this is coming out on top. Also, there could be some sort of truth about something or some sort of information coming out as well with the Ace of Winter here. Why did I skip what was surrounding the feminine, I don't know. But maybe I was meant to do that. I guess I was. Atop the 7 of Earth, which can, again, is about like patience and waiting for that seed to come out. It's the next step, right? We're ascending from the 7 up to the 8 of autumn. It's the perfect time to learn all you can by returning to school, taking a seminar, or conducting research. Do your best work, and the law of attraction will bring you prosperity and career advancement. Also love, if that's the case. If that's what you've been putting your work and your effort into, that's what you're going to get. And I've been talking all this whole time about the law of attraction and thinking positive and speaking positive things over your life. So that's what this is about. Knowing, again, that when you plant seeds, they grow. And so I'm going to continue in the faith that that's what's going to happen in my life. And I'm going to continue to talk about how wonderful, how beautiful my plants are going to be when they grow. And then that's what they'll be. Crowning atop the Knight of Air. The Ace of Summer. Beautiful. This is the beginning of a new emotional experience for you. It may be the first blush of romantic love, the rebirth of a current relationship, or the awakening of spiritual gifts and insights. This can definitely be a relationship. It can have to do with making a decision as to whether or not you're going to engage, since I've been feeling that since I started the reading, before I even laid any cards. Are we going to dance, or are we going to sit it out, miss the opportunity? So that can be what the decision is making. Am I going to take this chance and, like go after my past love? The Ace of Summer can definitely be about like relationships coming back, reconnecting and things. But again, it's like somebody wants to decide, maybe specifically between an Aries or Scorpio and a Libra, Gemini, or Taurus. For a good bit of us, Ace of Summer can also be this baby that I felt or saw, because with this being the general reading. It doesn't have to be you, feminine, necessarily having the baby. It can be close to you and your family. Maybe a new grandchild for you just got, or a niece, a nephew. For some of us, this can be the new home I was feeling with the realtor and getting the credit and all that kind of stuff. The new home or car, right? This is the new thing that makes us emotionally happy that we finally got it. An Ace of Summer specifically can be about a home. It often is. And especially sitting here next to a 4 of fire, 4 of wands, technically, with the Emperor. Atop the Fool, at the root, it's the King of Winter. So we have the King of Winter crossing here. 2 Kings of Winter, 2 Queens of Summer. So also a lot of evidence of air and earth combinations this week. Libra, Aquarius, Gemini, Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus. Well, this lines up perfectly, because I said the Dreamer or the Fool in this deck represents the planet Mercury for me. And then of the planet Mercury, most specifically the sign of Gemini, which it rules, air energy, and that's what showed up here, Mercury. Intelligent, impartial, respected, and unemotional. At this time, it's very important that you communicate clearly. What I said was going to happen over here. Communication was going to happen. I'm going to speak up for yourself. Be objective and unemotional when you do so. Act as professionally as possible. Like, be very clear and to the point. Don't beat around the bush. Don't, leave confusion and holes or leave it up for interpretation. You're stating how you feel or what you want or what's on your mind very clearly. If you need advice from someone else, seek out the most experienced expert in that area that you can find, as it relates to your new path. And at the heart of the matter, atop the Queen of Earth, it's the 8 of Summer. You feel that there's more to life than what you're living. So it's time to move on, right? It's time for you to walk a brand new path you never walked before. And that can be what the decision is all about too. Should I? Yes. Yeah, that's what you're feeling. It's time to move on. You may be moving from a situation that isn't good for you, or perhaps being drawn to what would make you happy. Either way, you're in control. You're the emperor. Right? I said you're not relinquishing control. You're taking control. You're in control. There's your confirmation. And in addition to these, advice from the angels and the animals, we're going to take a look at what lesson can be a takeaway for each archetype this week, beginning with trust. I accept that my inner voice will always guide me correctly. And opening to pride. I love myself and I see myself in everyone. Well, I am my beloved and my beloved is me. Does that make sense? Trust and change. I understand that nothing can grow or evolve without movement. Right. If you don't engage, if you sit it out, then nothing happens. If you don't exercise that opportunity, exercise your rights, exercise your free will, then everything just, sits the same. Just remains the same. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Trust and humor. I choose to focus on the lighter side of life. Trust. Mercury retrograde had gotten me, and I didn't look. I wasn't made to look at the camera. I didn't realize that you guys didn't get to see me pick up the rest of the cards. And I had come to a card called Freedom, and I'm gonna look for it in this deck. After I do the advice. So if it's not here, it means that one of the archetypes has it. But if it is here, I want you to get to see it, because it sort of encompassed it was pretty amazing when I came to it, because it encompassed everything that I had been saying, not only throughout the reading, but that I began with, because it mentioned free will as it relates to creating and co-creating. And that was my whole spiel in the beginning, to congratulate those of you who had exercised your free will in, engaging in your own lives and deciding to be a participant in your own life and to be active and to take action in creating and co-creating. So, I was sad to realize that the camera hadn't captured that, or, well, first that it stopped, and then when I realized that it had stopped and went to record all that stuff, I didn't realize that it wasn't doing anything. I thought it was recording and it wasn't doing anything at all. So you also didn't get to see me shuffling my surrender cards. You didn't get to see me dole out the cards from the lesson deck, ultimately. And you didn't get to see me shuffle the surrender cards. And those had some really, really poignant messages too. In fact, I went into a whole thing, because one was about surrendering this feeling of being small, connected to fear. And I pointed out how this emperor, which is representative of the divine masculine in many ways, often, or the masculine archetype in general, maybe even our own father or leadership and things, who could easily be a Scorpio with this butterfly here, how it's represented in this deck by a mouse, which is totally like diminutive, and he's small, doesn't look very emperor-like, but look at his shadow. And I went into this whole thing about how the masculine tends to feel that way, or I feel the masculine energy that way, like, not realizing the magnitude of his existence and his impact upon not only the divine feminine, but the world, and how he matters, and his value. Like, you know, hashtag divine masculines matter, you know, but they don't get it. And so they seek out they often seek out these like easier alternatives where they don't have to be large, or they don't feel they have to be, you know, large, not realizing that they are. So they don't have to take that easier route. Yeah, so I got into that. I had gone into this whole thing about, speaking of the free will, about walk-ins, because I had a client ask me about walk-ins the other day, and I explained to her that they are connected to free will also. And, you know, sometimes some of us make a choice not to walk the new path that we're shown, or our path period that we're shown. We decide we're going to do something else. We're not going to dance. We're going to sit it out. And in those cases, people are replaced by walk-ins. It's similar to, you know, something like suicide. You're given a life, and there's a path when we get here, I believe, in great part predestined as to, you know, what's to take place, give or take, you know, some nuance and stuff. And some of us decide, you know, not to go through with the whole thing, to end it, you know, early. That's free will, choosing to not participate in life. You know, it's more literal there. But that's sort of what happens when there's a need for a walk-in, or that's how the need for a walk-in occurs. All right, so anyway, the card to which I have come as an overall energy here for the surrender deck, and what can each archetype surrender this week, is surrender to setting limits. It is healthy to set boundaries in relationships. Practice expressing your needs, and remember that no is a complete sentence. I feel like we've been reminded of that a couple times, like in recent weeks. So I wanted to look, like I said, for, oh, it was a blue card. This one of these may be it. All right, that's peace. Here it is. Freedom. I possess the power and the free will to create my own happiness. So doesn't that tie the reading together so well? Look what it's surrounded by. Relationships. I'm attracted to those people who serve my higher good. So that's about getting rid of the ones that are not. That came up in the reading too. And peace. I am a being of love, and I release all negative energy. So this came up too. We talked about only being positive. And denial. I acknowledge my fear, but I replace it with the insight of awareness. So I'm glad I looked at those. And our advice for the masculine. What does he need to surrender this week? Surrender stubbornness, masculine. If you're tensing up or taking a rigid stance about something, gently observe yourself and become more yielding. This will help you to communicate more lovingly with others and yourself, right? What you speak over your own life needs to be loving too and positive. For the feminine, what do we need to surrender this week? For surrender your fear of change. So this is one of the cards that came up as I was doing the shuffling too. The universe is reminding you that you are cared for always, whether you're afraid of change in your job, your health, or relationship, or if you fear aging or death. Repeat the affirmation, quote, I have faith that all is well. And again, here's the change, right? With the new path. Here's the change. Here's the change. Here's the brand new beginning. So here's our desire to change. Here's what we wished that we could change. Now we just have to actually follow through and do it. There were also a number of cards that had lions on them and that energy of Leo. And I don't even know if you guys were, or you were watching when I ended up with the overall energy of courage. Oh, maybe not, because you didn't see me pick up the card. No, you weren't. Yeah, so courage and the energy of Leo here. I find the inner strength to face fear with confidence. And then when I put that down, the first card that I started with the surrender deck was about facing fear and surrendering fear. And I think that may have been the one that mentioned being, you know, feeling small and stuff too. And then like the next card was, there was a lion on that, and it was this a female with a staff, and that warrior spirit that I have been talking about, like that 9 of Wands sort of imagery, and you know, the ability to keep going and to persevere even though you feel like everything's over. So I'm sorry that whole chunk is missing. I'm going to go ahead and attribute it to Mercury retrograde, but it could have been, I'm wondering if it was, maybe a little bit more than that. Because just like a lot of crucial ties that, pulled some of this together. But I'm going to go ahead. So what lesson is the takeaway for the masculine this week? Envy. I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges. Right. So that connects to, again, this feeling of feeling small and stuff and like not enough, less than, not good enough, not worthy. And so you have to settle and take something else that, is not really what you want. It's not true. It's not true. You're the same as everybody else, just with different challenges. So rather than sort of covet other people's situations and lives, materials and finances and relationships, realize that you can have the same things. You can have the same ones, the same types. Feminine's takeaway this week. Empathy. I like this. I am open to seeing both sides of a situation. Very Queen of Air or King of Air. Very diplomatic. Very Libra. From the Angel Tarot to the masculine. Nice. The King of Earth. Generous. Professional. Responsible and practical. A successful time. Confidently accept opportunities you're offered. You have the Midas touch. Again, this is a good time to apply for credit. There could be job opportunities coming your way, maybe even something for which you didn't even apply. It just shows up. And this can also be connected to love, not necessarily with a direct earth sign, but of course that also a good possibility, a Capricorn, Virgo, or Taurus. And denotes worth and value. I was just talking about your worth and your value and not feeling deserving. This denotes that, the parties involved are, in fact, deserving and worthy, and the relationship itself, is valuable and worth saving, worth protecting, all of that stuff. For some, it does have to do with a home, a car, some sort of asset or something that is connected also specifically for the masculine to this 10 of earth, and for the feminine to the energy of the Empress, right? All about abundance. From the Angel Tarot to the feminine, it's another Ace of Air. We got one here. We got one here. So then truth coming out, it's a card of victory. It's a card of new beginnings that may be off to a rocky or bumpy start, but things are going to work out. Brilliant new ideas and inspirations, seeing the truth of a situation, yes, and perhaps a challenging beginning. But a beginning nonetheless. Keep it positive. From the Animal Tarot to the masculine, lastly, the Four of Winter. Thoroughly think things through before making a decision. This is like the fourth or fifth card about decision. Continuing to overanalyze isn't going to get you any closer to a resolution. But meditation and prayer, which the Nine of Summer represents, right? Answered prayer, wishes granted. Meditation and prayer will bring you the answers that you seek. The Four of Winter can also be about planning travel, vacations. And with all the chariots that we've seen and all the other cards of movement, somebody could be wanting to travel. And of course, we began with the dice and weekend away as well. Weekend away. And lastly, for the feminine from the Animal Tarot, it's another Queen of Winter. Experienced, self-sufficient, brilliant, and funny is the Queen of Winter. All your life experiences have prepared you for this moment of truth. It's time to declutter your home, clear away situations that aren't working for you anymore, and to disengage from people who create more drama than happiness. The Queen of Winter is an Aquarius, a Gemini, or yes, a Libra, or perhaps the planet Venus herself, mother of all love and abundance. that was the general reading. If you enjoyed the reading, if you like the reading, please actually like the reading by clicking on the like button. If you are not yet subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe and click on the notification bell so that you know that I have posted a new video. Other than that, I guess I'll just see you guys and talk to you guys again soon when I come back with the love reading. Namaste, angels.
I'ma make it to the top, yeah. All the haters, yeah, they see me